Hi, I'm Michael, and this is California. And today we're going to take a little break from our pandemic updates and start talking about some underlying issues that have been ongoing over the last couple of years for seniors and insulin. Primarily because the cost of insulin has skyrocketed over the last few years. There was a lot of talk about this before all the pandemic stuff happened. But on Tuesday, we got an update from the White House regarding a Part D senior savings model, which is a plan to help bring down the cost of insulin for seniors. So today we're going to talk about what that Part D senior savings model is going to look like, how it's supposed to work, and when you'll be able to get it. Now, before we do that, if you like this information, if you find it interesting, you find it helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. So first, let's talk a little bit about why the White House is proposing this. So over the last couple years, insulin has had a dramatic increase. Over the last 10 years, in fact, it's gone up over 300%. And so this really disproportionately affects seniors, mainly because they have set incomes or tend to have lower incomes just because they're not still working. And so, for example, the two most popular insulins, Humalog and Novolog, in 2009 were $93 for 10 milliliter vial. Now, in 2019, the cost has gone up to $270 for Humalog and $290 for Novolog. So I don't need to tell you, that's a lot of money. That's 300%. Now, the amount of benefits that seniors are receiving hasn't gone up 300%. And I think you can ask any of them and they'll tell you that. So obviously you can see the cost for insulin specifically has gone up at a rate that is much faster than literally every other cost that people have on a day-to-day basis. So that is why the White House and the Trump administration are trying to devise this plan, which is being touted as a market-based solution to help bring down those costs for seniors, put a little extra money in their pockets, or at least stop them from getting gouged so much for the specific medication. Okay, so let's talk about how the program is supposed to work, because again, there's been a lot of folks fighting to bring down the cost of insulin for a long time, and it'll be interesting to see how this magic bullet that the White House is proposing is really going to affect the overall cost. So let's talk about how it's supposed to work. So first of all, it is a voluntary program for insurance companies who provide Part D, which is for drug coverage, and MAPD, so Medicare Advantage plans that have Part D coverage included in them. So it's a voluntary plan for them to opt into to have specific set benefits for seniors. Now, there obviously are going to be some incentives from the government for these companies to participate, and we're not going to get into that side just because it gets complicated, but there are going to be some incentives and some money to help them throughout this. But the overall goal of the scheme is to ensure that seniors, instead of having insulin that varies over cost, so if you have a Part D plan, there's really three main parts. You have your deductible, you have your co-pays, and you have your donut hole and a catastrophic size. So that's the fourth side. But in those three first stages, the deductible, the copay, and the donut hole, you have a varying cost for your prescription, so for your insulin. So for example, during the deductible, you're responsible the first 100% up to $400 and some odd dollars. During the copay, you have a set copay based on the tier level of your medication. And then in the donut hole, you have a set percentage, 25%, for whatever the cost is for your medication. So as you go through those stages, you start paying a variety of costs for that same medication. Under this plan, what would happen is there would be a set copay of $35 specifically for insulin. So it doesn't matter if you're in the deductible stage, if you're in the copay stage, if you're in the donut hole, you're going to pay the $35. Now, the caveat to this is that these plans are going to be allowed to have higher premiums. So you'll pay a little bit more monthly to have the plan, but you will have a set copay of $35 and potentially pay less every month you get your prescription. Now, the White House is saying that the average savings in this program is going to be $446 or 66% for the average senior here in the United States. So we'll really have to see. We don't have any specifics on the plan yet. They oftentimes hold these till the very last moment of the last second of the last day before the annual election period. So we won't have a ton of information about how it works, but I'd be curious to see how it's supposed to work. And I'm really excited and hopeful that this proposal from the White House, or this plan from the White House, is really going to bring down the cost for seniors, because undoubtedly they've been hit really hard with these costs specifically for insulin. All right, so everything so far looks fine and good, but it leaves a lot of unanswered questions. And yeah, I know it's early days, we don't have all the information yet, but there is going to be a lot of questions about this program overall. The first mainly is from the insurance side. Why would they want to opt into something like this? Because it is voluntary, and it puts them at a pretty big, substantial risk. And so, I mean, obviously there must be some sort of big, fat, juicy carrot being dangled in front of them, at least temporarily, but it does put them at a lot of risk. And the reason being is that insurance in general works for spreading out the costs over a large group of people, some healthy people and some sick people, and the healthy people who don't use the coverage pay for the sick people who do use the coverage. Now, when you have a plan like this that's specifically for insulin, for a medication that's expensive, what's going to happen is you're going to draw all those folks out of the healthy pool, the people who are using insulin, and move them into one particular plan. But all the healthy folks and the folks who are not using insulin are not going to move into that plan. So now you have all the folks using the most expensive medications on one single plan, and it can cause something called a death spiral, just because the costs spiral out of control because you don't have the healthy people to mitigate the cost for the folks who are using the insulin. So obviously there must be some sort of big juicy carrot for those companies to participate in something like this if they decide to do so. Also, they have existing Part D plans or medication plans that are doing well. They're making money hand over fist. Why would they jump out of something that's working into something that's a pilot program that may or may not work or may put them in a riskier situation? Now, finally, there's a lot of questions for the individual. So we don't know what the actual premium for these plans are, but presumably the premium is going to be higher for these plans because they have a model where a expensive medication, you're paying a flat lower fee than what you're paying now. In general, for insurance, if you pay more monthly, then it means you're going to pay less when you actually get the medication. And then if you pay more when you get your medications, you're going to pay less monthly. So in a situation where the most expensive medication, you're paying less for it, it typically means that you are going to have to pay more monthly. And we won't know that. We won't see it up until September when those plans come out. And it's really going to vary based on a person's specific needs. So what type of insulin are they taking? When are they using it? How often are they using it? What are the other medications that they also need that also have to be on the plan? So all those are going to factor into a totality of whether it's a good idea or a bad idea for them to opt into this plan. But overall, I think it's great that they're making an effort to try to solve this. And realistically, we're going to have to see, is this a real concerted effort to try to fix this problem, or is it just kind of grandstanding? Is it something that Trump can hang his hat on an election year and say, hey, I did something to help out for insulin? And really, only time will tell. Thank you so much for watching our video. I hope that you found it interesting or helpful or at least useful. And if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. Also, if you have any comments, you have any questions, leave them down below. We love to see your comments and questions, and we'll be happy to make a new post or a new video to go over them as soon as we can. Now, finally, we here at California, we know health insurance. So whether it's Covered California or Medicare or private health insurance or Medicaid or Medigap or health insurance for a small group, we know health insurance. So if you have questions or comments specifically about Medicare or Medicaid or Covered California or any of those private health insurance, we can address those as well. Leave them down below. We'll be happy to make a post or video for that. Now, other than that, I am Michael, and this is California, wishing you a happy, healthy day.